I never intended on even showing my face or making content. I was making static content, meaning
What's static content?
it wasn't dynamic, it wasn't moving, it wasn't reels. It was just I was doing food illustrations.
Justin, that is called a photo.
Yes, I tried to make it sound way cooler than it was.
What the fuck is a static?
A static.
This is how I know you content creators are in the world of your own. You call a picture static content.
Well, you know.
Welcome to The Worst Asian Podcast, where a couple Asian American millennials give you our shitty opinions on all things Asian. I am here all by my goddamn self today because I'm not shitting on Ben like I normally do. Ben is actually out with some personal stuff right now, so we had this thing set up, and God bless Ben. God bless his situation. I'm wishing for the best for him. So the fact that he's not here, don't shit on him. Don't come at him on social media. Unless you just miss him. If you miss him, you can just DM him, say that you miss him. But I am here by myself. So right now, until I introduce my two guests, I'm just awkwardly talking to myself. I was going to ask Ben. I had this whole shtick in the beginning with asking Ben, how do we choose who to introduce first? We're just picking my first Pokemon. We're doing an episode today on social media, and specifically food, because Ben consumes a lot of food. So between Ben and now I realize I'm making fun of Ben when he's not even here. These two voices that you hear are two people on the internet, but before I introduce them, how do I decide who to introduce first? Do we just go by metrics that the internet cares about, or do we just go by who I actually met first?
I think who started their Instagram first.
Who started their Instagram first?
Yes.
Okay, you're trying to be nice to him, so I'm going to skip him. I'm going to go to you first, Johnny. Okay. Okay, you know what? Because I'm all by myself and I don't want to do these weird intros, I'm just going to let them do the intro. Johnny, who are you? What do you do? What's your handle on the internet? And most importantly, how many followers do you have?
Ooh. Hello, everyone. My name is Johnny Baesa. Instagram handle is Johnny Eats NYC. And I think right now I have about 112,000 followers.
112,000 followers, my guys. Just for people that follow us, Ben and I, on social media, we have 1,000 followers. So you take that number, you times it by 100, and then you get close to what Johnny has over here. This is all basically a dick measuring contest today. So Justin, do you want to tell me about yourself? Same question. Who are you? What's your handle on the interwebs? And how many followers do you have?
Sure. My name is Justin Wu. My Instagram handle is @HungryArtistNY. And I lose this dick measuring contest because I have a little over, I believe, 79,000 followers right now.
Question to both of you. Is the amount of followers you guys both have the first thing anyone actually cares about when they find out that you do what you guys do?
I think it's a pretty common question. Oh, you do like food vlogging or you do whatever you do, content creation. How many followers do you have? And yeah, I answer the question, but I always tell people that it matters from a perspective that a lot of brands look at it. Mostly also engagement rates. Like if your engagement's high, that matters the most. If your followers are high, but you have no engagement, it's really probably not going to matter.
What do you mean by engagement though? Because some people on the internet who just like dabble in it for personal reasons don't know what the hell that actually means.
I'm talking about like how many people are seeing your post, actually sharing it, saving it. And likes look great, but mainly now I think Johnny would probably agree, but like who's saving it, who's sharing it with other people, who's commenting on it? Are you building a community? Are you actually bringing some type of real life tangible impact with your content versus just have it as like something
who's
on
got
the
the
internet?
biggest numbers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Overall numbers, yeah.
That is a legitimate answer. It also sounds like you trying to defend the fact that you have less followers.
Yo, I'm just trying to tell you that my dick isn't that small.
He's a grower.
I'm growing slowly. Late growth spurts still
You act
happen.
like you're still going through puberty or something.
Yeah.
Puberty on social media. That's basically what we're talking about
Well,
here.
you know, let me say something. I've always been the youngest person in my grade because I have a December birthday.
Okay.
So I've always been, the later developer. So yeah, I still got some growing to do.
As a side note, I had Justin put on some earbuds when we were setting up for this recording. This man could not figure out how to put earbuds into his ears. Like my 4-year-old son, I had to actually go up to him, take the earbuds and like wrap it around his earlobe and actually pop the thing into his ear.
My wife's a teacher and she always says how like, oh, I had to help this kid today with these directions. I'm like, I feel that kid because I don't know shit either. So like,
how about you, Johnny? Like, do you ever get people that come up to you? Like, the first question is basically how many followers you have?
All the time. I think when you bring up the conversation that Yeah, I'm on Instagram. Even if I don't mention that I'm a food influencer blogger, they're just like, how many followers you got? It's
Right.
like it's almost like a judgment thing.
Mhm.
It's like, what's your credit score? I'm not telling you my credit score, but I'll tell you my followers. So I always tell them, I just show them, and then they're all just like, oh, wow, wow, wow. But then I feel like sometimes when you do that, they treat you different
How so?
based on how many you have. Like,
Yeah.
for example, like if someone saw my followers, 112,000 versus like, let's say somebody with just 1,000, they might treat me better.
You're talking about me.
No. Okay.
I literally have 1,000 followers.
4,000.
Okay,
right?
fine.
4,000.
Thank you.
4,000.
Not subtle.
I feel like because I feel like I'm guilty of that too. I would look at my favorite creators and I'm just like, oh wow, they figured it out. They know what to do. They're amazing. But then there's somebody who's just as talented who may have just started and they have like 50 followers.
Yeah. Do you think like some of it is just the fact that other people, not to say that this is true of you guys, but like some people just pop off at the right time because either they're making the right content at the right exact time and it just happens to catch the algorithm. Is there a part of it that is luck?
I think luck definitely is a factor, but you also make your own luck. Going back to your thing about someone that just started and having less followers, I met Johnny when he probably had under 500. I mean, he was really nice. Like, he hit me up and he actually came to support one of my food art events,
Oh,
like one of
nice.
the pop-ups, and
Yeah.
like I saw his content, like we watched his content together that day, and I told him straight up, and he'll tell you this, I was like, oh, you're gonna blow up, and you're gonna blow up really fast,
How can you tell that though?
because the content was just good, the quality, and he has videography experience. I don't.
Oh, okay.
So like his perspectives, like it took me a long time to kind of understand, like maybe I should grab this content, maybe I should shoot it this way. From day one, his content was consistent, and we had gotten on the phone several times before we met in person just to talk about like what I've noticed, because what I was able to provide just as a friend was just like things I've noticed over time, like content topics or just general advice.
Yeah.
But like I told him, if you just keep hitting social media with what you're bringing to the table, people are going to appreciate the perspective that you bring. And I remember telling him when he started like really getting exponential growth. And at a certain point, I remember telling him when we were out eating empanadas, I was like, and he's obviously a humble guy, but I was just like, yo, like from a follower's perspective, like you're going to blow me out of the water really fast because first of all, you're doing episodes, which is interesting. Secondly, I see how you make things, and that's just what I saw.
Is this one of those things where in like a really shitty kung fu movie, the sensei is no longer the sensei,
The student surpasses the master.
Exactly.
Sifu.
Yeah, Sifu. Yeah.
So Johnny
Yeah.
should be calling you Sifu.
No, I wouldn't
should.
say that. I mean, like I definitely was there to just. I was down to just help as a friend, and like also I always pick his brain too, and I think I don't know, like I'm learning, right? Like again, he has videography experience. I don't. I just have ideas. I would say I'm a creative.
What kind of content do you both create? So for those that don't know you or have not heard of you, how do you describe the content that you make, Johnny?
For me, I tell them that I do episodes. I go to restaurants and review, but I do cheap eats. I was discovered really by my cheap eats episodes, and I think the common misconception is that New York City, everything's expensive.
Yeah.
That was kind of a challenge when I was trying to figure out what to do with my channel. So I am kind of known as that cheap eats guy now.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
Initially, it was bad because I didn't want to be that guy.
Why?
I don't know. It just wasn't part of my plan. It was everything was an accident. This whole year was an accident.
You coming to this place right now to
This is an
be
accident.
here with me.
My life is an accident.
I mean, why would you choose to come to the worst?
I couldn't get the emails to the best ones, so I got this one. I was like, oh, these guys probably.
The one with 1,000 followers. You had to divide by 100 times.
I looked at it. I was like, 1K.
The golden ratio. The 112,000 to 1,000 ratio. That was the golden ratio.
Yeah, best podcast was like 4 million, bro. I was like, I can't. There's no way they'll just skip my stuff. So
Fair enough. You had nowhere else to go to, so that's why you're here.
yeah, so I chose it.
What the hell was my question to you?
Oh, the cheapy stuff.
What kind of content you make?
So I do all food. Everything is food. Restaurant reviews. I come in. I share my favorites. All my favorites.
Yeah.
And if there's something bad, rarely it happens. But I try not to mention it.
Okay.
Because I just want to do all positivity. I don't do ratings. And actually, it's something that Justin told me. In the beginning, if you see my episodes, it's all about like, oh, I rate this 4 out of 5.
You were a Yelper.
Yeah,
You
because
were one of those shitty Yelpers.
I was a shitty Yelper.
Yeah.
And so
He wasn't even Yelp Elite,
And I'm
though.
not
That's the
trying
thing.
to like shit
No.
on people that are Yelp Elite. I'm not shitting on you. I love you. This is just a joke. This is just a joke.
not me. I don't even know if I have an account. But when I met Justin, or maybe a month later or so, he was the one that says, hey, take a look at these big accounts that are very successful. what's something you noticed? And it's something that they don't rate any food. They just show you the best that place has to offer. And he was like, you should consider not doing that anymore because if you blow up, it's
going to make you look bad.
Yeah.
Because ratings are subjective too.
Exactly. That really stuck to me. Subjective. Yeah. Everything is subjective.
Like how do you rate, if you're doing pizza, right? How do you compare pizza to Chinese food? And if you are doing pizza, you need a pizza scale, but then you have Neapolitan versus like thin crust. Are you breaking it down to like hydration levels of dough? You're probably not. It's really easy. I mean, and you know, it's okay to do ratings. Like it's just not my thing, but I'm just saying if you're calling something a 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, to me, it's very subjective, one, and it doesn't really get into deep substance because it could mean anything. Yeah, and you're making enemies probably. I'm like, people are just facilitators. Like I see myself as a facilitator. When I say that I like this, it's because I liked it. It doesn't mean you have to like it.
Right, it's just your own personal take on something.
And I will never say something's the best. I'm just saying, hey, I thought this was really good and really interesting and or has some type of cultural value and maybe you should try it.
Speaking of cultural values, your content, Justin, is a slight bit different.
Yeah, so my story, I guess it's a little different in that it was also a happy accident, right? So like I never intended on even showing my face or making content. I was making static content, meaning
static content?
It wasn't dynamic, it wasn't moving, it wasn't reels. It was just I was doing food illustrations.
Justin, that is called a photo.
Yes, I tried to make it sound way cooler than it was.
What the fuck is a static?
A static.
This is how I know you content creators are in the world of your own. You call a picture static content.
Well, you know, no, it might be from my consulting background because you always try to add value. So I was like, what sounds better than the photo static content?
But this guy. Sorry, you were saying?
Yeah. So like I was making food illustrations. Restaurants were closed during the pandemic and I love to illustrate. So I was making food illustrations and posting it online. And then when restaurants started to open, some people took notice. I started to bring my illustrations in to fundraise money or also gift them to small business owners, do features online.
Yeah.
It was really a charity concept. I opened my website for charity at the time, but what ended up happening was I was visiting so many restaurants. I watch a lot of like food vloggers online and I was like, I won't lie. At first I was like, man, this might be cringeworthy. Like I'm showing my face. I'm like doing stuff I never thought I would do. Like it might be weird, but eventually I found it to be really fun. It was a different creative outlet and I was just filming organically off my phone. And
you were telling me before this was which phone?
So I started with the iPhone 8.
iPhone 8. You started with an iPhone 8 in which year? In 2000?
So I kicked this off April 2021. And I started filming videos way later than that. Like maybe like 4 or 5 months later.
Oh, what do you call a video? What's a fancy term for video?
Dynamic content.
Dynamic
content.
Multiple static posts.
Exponential
static posts.
Static posts just flashing across each other.
Yeah.
Just a quick side question. What do you prefer to be called, guys? I say influencer sometimes. I say influencer because I'm a dad, so I like dad jokes. I like content creator, social media personality, yada yada. Like, what is the term that you would prefer to be called?
I think just content creator for me.
Really?
Yeah, I started off as a videographer. I mean, I don't really get called that now, so I think content creator is better. It's less cringeworthy. I don't know. The idea of being an influencer.
Why is that cringeworthy?
So I have input on that, right?
Yeah.
I prefer content creator as well, or just creative. I do a lot of different things, I would say. But I think the reason why we think that is because influencer has taken on this stereotype. Honestly, I think it's unfair for me and Johnny to like look at it and be like cringeworthy. I say the same thing, but that's because it's gotten this stigma. Honestly, anybody that influences anything is an influencer. It doesn't matter how many followers you have, but the only thing is just that I think when people hear that buzzword, they're like, oh, you're this like person that does fashion or like you do skincare products and you sell and you do promo codes, you have affiliate links. And,
right.
And that's fine.
Like you're trying to sell something to someone. Yeah. That is your main thing.
And people think it's like some of it's fake per se. I would say
like, like the creators are just faking it for
it's like an image and I think it's received like if you Google influencer you find tons of articles where it's like oh my god this is the worst thing that's ever happened, but I don't believe that. I think there's so many great influencers. You read articles sometimes where it's like this person used their platform for such an amazing cause. I do prefer content creator, but that's only because the phrase content creator, the role, it gets actually respected. It's like almost like, oh, you're creating content, but people wrap influencer into this whole different realm, which is actually very unfair.
What's that Instagram account? It's like influencers in the wild or something.
I secretly want to be featured on that one day. I'm not on there, but I want to be on there one day. I think I do it enough now that I have a higher chance than when I was just not a content creator. I almost said the word.
I feel like it might happen because
Yeah.
the more you're out there, we're out there filming all the time in the so-called wilds, right?
In the wild.
The concrete jungle of New York. Whoa.
Plus that account, the content on that account is publicly sourced from other
Yeah,
people, right?
it's
just
It's not
random
just one
people.
guy.
Yeah,
It's like a
yes.
bunch of people.
It's people submitting and tagging them, and they're reposting it. So like, if someone were to recognize Johnny, they'd be like, "Oh, that's Johnny Eats, right?" And then they tag him and be like, "Oh, look at Johnny, right?" So the more you film, it's just bound to happen. I've seen like people I know on it, and I'm like, "Oh, that's funny."
That is kind of funny because I was
wow.
going to ask, what is the EDC? What is the everyday carry of a person who does like food content? You've got your iPhone 8, that sweet middle spot. That
I do have an iPhone 12 now. It's not been in use, but it is a 12.
The 8's still there though, no?
I don't know. I hope not.
that's like for B-roll. B-roll.
I don't know if you want to use that for B-roll. My video quality was not good on the iPhone 8.
You have your phone, and then you have that brick that you guys carried,
The brick.
The brick.
like
The
the
light.
sun, pocketable form. What is that thing?
It's just a portable light. And it's funny. I told myself, I was like, yo, I will never get one of those influencer lights. Word for word, I said that.
Influencer lights.
And then one day I realized, oh shit, I am an influencer and I need an influencer light. And it's funny, it's like he knows my real light, which I have in my tote bag over there. Like
Yeah.
I do have a small brick,
Yeah.
but I also have like a legit DSLR attachment that I just literally bring around for real shoots. And that thing's
bright is
obnoxious.
that thing?
It's pretty bright. I don't know the wattage, but it's
Oh, yeah.
It
bright.
can get pretty bright
It can
like
be
this. And Justin's light is kind of like an iPad Air versus my iPhone 8 size ones.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Fight for your case. Why do you guys need that light?
Well, some restaurants are very dim. Plus, also you need consistent lighting. And so if you do a lot of shots, even indoors, I mean during the day indoors, it's going to be grainy. So we try to get as high quality of footage, dynamic stills as possible, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly
That's
it.
the new term of the day, dynamic stills.
Versus
Dynamic
stills. I'm a
stills.
dynamic still creator.
No, I mean, like, that's why I got it, because I started realizing I tried it once and I was like, oh, this makes a huge difference.
Yeah, because you can see.
They can see what I'm filming, and I'm like, oh, that's why every person does it. Oh, I'm not above that. Like, I need this if I'm going to upgrade my content.
Have you been in a situation where you're in a regular restaurant? It's not like a paid gig or anything, and you're just there eating food, and you bring out this mini sun from your pocket, and the person next to you who's just trying to have a nice meal is like, dude, can you turn that shit off?
Oh, that's never
Oh.
happened to me.
No?
No, a lot of looks.
They always look.
They look.
I can hear them saying it.
The silence is astounding.
Is it
Yes.
looks of judgment or is it looks of curiosity?
Both.
Yes.
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
You got to be shameless, though. So that's
Yeah.
the thing, right? I'm starting to realize, like, influence in the wild, that's a real thing because you have to be shameless. You're literally filming off a phone and your camera eats first and you're holding this obnoxious light. And
Yeah.
trust me, I try to be very mindful. When I do, like, restaurant collabs, like,
Mhm.
I try to be in the corner because I'm not trying to flash my light in anybody's faces.
Okay.
I'm not trying to get anybody's face without anybody's permission. I try to ask for permission. But yes, if it's like organic, then you definitely get looks. When I go to street food vendors, which I do a lot, or like when I go to mom and pops, like I'm just there buying my own food and doing my own thing, and people are like, "Oh, this dude's he's there." You could tell from their face, like, "Oh, this guy looks like he might be a TikToker."
He's
Oh,
one of those.
he's one of those.
He's one of those.
Oh, I do want to talk about that. You guys are primarily on Instagram, I would say. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I started only on Instagram. So now I'm slowly I have a TikTok, but it's nowhere near as active. But tomorrow actually I'm starting my YouTube channel.
Are you? What's the name
Yes.
of your YouTube channel?
Same thing.
Same
Just to be
exact thing.
consistent.
Keep it
Johnny Eats
consistent.
NYC. Yeah. Same type of thing, same type of story. But what I'm excited about is long form. That way I can go deep dive into detail of who this person is, what do they offer, the story behind the restaurant.
Yeah.
So I'm not restricted in that 60 second or less.
You know, that's actually smart. Yesterday, I was talking with Stephanie Wu. She's the editor-in-chief over at Eater. They have the website for long-form written. What's a fancy word for written content, Justin, please?
Long form verbiage.
And it's static.
Verbiage.
And it's static.
It's static.
The words
Long
don't
form static verbiage.
So she was
Damn.
telling me about like you can do a piece on something, and because you have so much material there that you can create long form written content, you can create a YouTube video for their YouTube channel. They can create short term content for their social medias. Sometimes you might have a video that goes off on one platform, but on the other one, no one even looks at it.
So I also have a TikTok. I'm still figuring it out. Like it's a little under 30,000 right now. But this is what I've noticed about TikTok. And maybe people will disagree, but my personal experience is like you could really hit big on one video
Yeah.
And that will just like, you could increase fast overnight. You could still do that with Reels, but I feel like TikTok, like the boom and bust is like way bigger. I have noticed my content currently doesn't perform as well on TikTok, and I don't think it's necessarily the editing style. I think there's
it's the length? Because I always joke with people, TikTokers have the shortest attention spans.
They do.
They do, but I've seen like some of my friends on TikTok that like do really well. They have the video length is like longer as well, but I feel like sometimes their videos don't perform well on Reels as well.
The exact piece of thing.
The algorithm, I feel like the TikTok changed a little bit because like it used to push my content out a lot. Now it doesn't. I think I need to like study and actually modify how I'm voicing things, how I'm maybe sequentially cutting scenes and things like that. It's something I'm considering, and I've actually, I kid you not, the last 3 days, the last 3 nights, I've just been up on TikTok.
What do you mean?
Consuming content, studying.
You call that studying? My wife calls that sleeping in bed.
Falling asleep.
Well, I would say like I knew though, like I literally got into bed and was like, all right, like I need to figure this out. This is a challenge, right? And that's the thing. You always got to be flexible. So for me, it's like challenge accepted. Like I'm not doing as well as I can on TikTok. How do I get better? And so I've been studying and figuring out what can I do slightly differently because I'm not going to blame the algorithm. Algorithm can be a beast, but like it's not the algorithm. Like,
everyone hates the algorithm though.
Yeah.
It gets shit on so much.
Algo is the least popular kid in class. Don't name your kids Algo. I mean, nobody does that shit anyways, but like, don't do that.
Algo treated me right in the beginning. Algo doesn't like me right now, but
you guys put in all this effort. What happens like when you shoot a piece of content, you edit it, you do the studying, you do all this prep work, think it's going to be a banger, you post that shit up, you get like 2 likes.
2 likes.
Whatever your metric of... Actually, you know what?
Johnny was like disrespectful.
Mic drop. You don't have the answers.
What is bad for you? I'm just curious. Like, let's say it's Instagram, it's a reel. What is a bad metric?
Okay, I think a bad metric would be if my video doesn't reach 10,000 views within like 2 or 3 hours, then I'm like, something's wrong.
10,000 views within 2 or 3 hours is bad for you, Johnny.
Yes.
How about you, Justin?
So I've noticed my content has a slow burn, but it has kind of like longevity. So like if my content doesn't get like 10,000
views.
Yeah. And like a day, then I'm like, okay. But sometimes I know, I usually am kind of knowing that like this video I did not make for views. I kind of just made it because I liked it.
Okay.
Like I do art, like not everybody's always interested in my art, you know, like they're more interested in food. But like I look at it in weeks. If something is just has flatlined at 50,000 views, then I'm like, oh, okay, it's okay. It's not bad. But like really what I aim for is like 6 figures over time.
Over time, like
Because
over...
I've noticed my videos have a slow burn, and actually a lot of brands I work with have said that, and they like it because there's long-term potential.
Is it possible for those platforms to give you like, let's say it's not that good in the first day or so? Is it ever happened where in like a week or so then just pops off?
So even if for that example I had 2-3 hours the whole day, it's under 10K. The lifespan of a reel is, I think, around 6 weeks on average.
That's much longer than I would have thought.
Yeah. So going back to what he said earlier, like I studied Instagram. I studied my favorite creators before I started my account. He was one of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're not just saying that because he's in front of you.
Maybe.
Thanks. I'll take it.
Don't tell him.
Don't tell him.
My dick just grew a little bit.
A little bit. Puberty.
It's growing.
See, I told you I grow.
He's a slow burn.
Slow
burn. There you go.
Yeah, you're saying.
What was I saying? I studied the best foodies that I found. Justin was one of them, and I said, what is he doing right? Because he's growing. He has X amount of followers, and his videos has high engagement. And I looked at other people, and like just going back to what he said, like at night when everything's quiet, I studied, I took notes, and I took little pieces from each of these people. I stole them and then created my own thing. And now people are like, oh, I love your style. But the secret is I stole little pieces here and there.
Would you say steal is the right word?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I was going to say,
everyone
steal has a negative connotation.
There's a book called Steal Like an Artist. And that book changed my perspective as a creator because nothing is original.
Because you're taking a bunch of pieces that you like from other people.
Exactly.
I think as long as you give credit, and also you're not stealing in a way it's just like the same piece. Like I'm not going to Johnny's page and going like, oh, Johnny did this. It was so creative. Let me do it the same way. And let me say the same exact things that Johnny said. That's not cool probably if you don't credit them. But I'm saying like, it's inevitable. We all consume content. When I go on YouTube, I binge YouTube like food. Like you see how people cut things. And yes, that's long form, but now we have shorts, right? And then I've told people before, like everyone kind of has, not everyone, but a lot of people have a similar formula. It's how you present to that formula, how you kind of put your assets together, your resources, like your scenes, your narration, and then, but it kind of follows, everything has a hook. Everything has some type of transition, whether you're actually doing some type of highly edited transition or it's just clean. Everything involves communication, and how do you evoke that?
So the question I had before was like, if you do have a piece of content that flops, how does that make you feel? Especially if it's something that you spend a good amount of time on, that you thought fit all the criteria, checked all the boxes as to what it should be, and it still flops.
So obviously it sucks, but like I've started to realize that it doesn't bother me as much anymore.
You just saying that?
No, seriously. Like it definitely sucks. And I think if something flops, it doesn't really bother me. But if 4 videos flop in a row, as in like it's getting 50,000 views and I want like 6 figures to 1 million.
Hey, by the way, guys, I want 50,000 views. So if you're listening, please just keep playing my shit on replay. Grab your husband's phone, your wife's phone, doesn't matter. Sorry, Justin, you were saying?
No, that's cool. Like it's almost disappointing sometimes, to be honest, when it's like, if it just peaks at 50 to 60, I'm like, damn, that could have been like way better. And but what I'll do is I'll look at it and I'll be like, okay.
You'll try to figure out what went wrong there.
And yeah, it still did well per se, but it just could have been better. I could have done a better job. And I look at what I said, I'm like, oh, okay. I think the way I communicated could have been better. Like I did 2 street food videos recently that in my head, I was like, yo, I want as many people as possible to see this because these vendors really deserve that support. I mean, it's still growing, but like it's been, I think, a week and it's at like 50. And I'm just kind of like, no, I want 6 figures if possible because I want people to go. But I looked back at what I said and I was like, you know what? I think I should have gotten to the point a little faster. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to learn. And for me, it's more about taking it in stride. TikTok too. It hasn't really been pushing my recent content. So I'm like, I was talking to Johnny this morning. I was like, yo, I think I may have figured out some things I'm doing wrong. Let me implement it, see if it works. If it doesn't, back to the drawing board. But that's fine. I'm not gonna blame the algorithm.
How about you, Johnny? Do you cry when something goes wrong?
I used to cry a lot. Nothing was wrong. I just cried. But now, I used to really get bothered by, oh man, this thing's it's not doing well. It sucks. People hate me now. But now it's more so like I go in before I hit publish. I just think like I did my best.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't perform well, like what Justin says, you look at the piece of content and you kind of see where things would go wrong. And you can look at your insights too if you want to go that deep. Like I know for YouTube, you can see like where people are watching and where
YouTube is crazy, yeah. Because I heard like you find out where people stop at a video or where they replay like a certain segment of a video.
Yeah. And so I do this too for stories. Like for stories, it'll tell you if a certain piece of content is good, if they left or they just clicked there, they clicked on the link, or they just skipped there, just exited the whole thing. But for now, it doesn't really bother me as much if something flops. But it does help because now I'm more motivated to just be like, how could I have improved? What could I have done better with this video going to the next one? But I think that's always the mindset. How do we improve?
It's tough to live on the internet, whether you're creating content or you're just posting like pictures of your kid and shit, because there's always people online that just want to like bring you down or like haters.
There's so much negativity.
You guys ever get that?
All the time.
All the time.
I see it like almost, I wouldn't say every day, but like it's very frequent. I see it every week. Yeah.
You mean like comments, right?
Yeah, comments, and people will DM you and say like wild stuff. You know what someone said actually recently?
Yeah.
I'm an illustrator too, so like I made these shirts focusing on like New York City iconic foods.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look, it's got like a bagel on it. It has like pizza on it. New York City Greek Anthora coffee cups.
That's the blue and white cup for people.
The iconic cup. Yeah. Hot dog, of course. Like it's pretty iconic in New York with the vendors and also Coney Island. And somebody DM'd me, and usually they don't DM you, but this guy DM'd me. He's like, "You're not hungry artist. You're a greedy artist because you didn't put Chinese takeout on this. And if there's no Chinese takeout on it, I'm not gonna buy it."
Huh.
I read that comment and I actually just was like, I mean, it made me laugh because first of all, I'm Asian. I'll do anything to rep Asian food, but I'm just like, look, that's so subjective, and I'm an artist, right? Like I'm interpreting things my way. Look, I'm not gonna say that Chinese food isn't iconic, but for New York, like, come on.
Technically, Chinese food is across everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like there are certain things like a bagel. You can't find good bagels everywhere.
Yeah, you can.
That's true.
You can find good Chinese fast food takeout.
You can't find good pizza everywhere either. You don't find the Greek coffee cups everywhere either. I didn't really respond because I didn't find it to be worth my time, but people will just complain about everything. And hey, he had a great idea. I have been wanting to make like a shirt with like Chinese takeout boxes on it. I think it'd be really dope, but I'm like, damn, like if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it.
Just don't buy it.
Yeah.
Just leave.
It's
Get out of
fine.
here.
Unfollow me if you want.
Dude,
like, that's
yeah.
cool.
That's my thing. Like, I don't get why people on the internet have so much fucking time.
Dude.
There are so many things you could be doing with your time than to like put someone else down, right? And if you don't like the food, you don't like someone's piece of content, just don't watch it again.
Leave me,
Yeah.
please.
Yes.
If they have constructive criticism, that's a completely different thing, right?
A lot of times it's like off topic too. Well, I should say on topic, but off topic. Like, an example would be, I've done a few videos on Korean fried chicken. Like, I love Korean fried chicken.
Yeah.
I have never said Korean people invented fried chicken. I did not talk about the fried chicken origin story. Look, shout out to like the actual story, right? Which most people say, you know, it came to Korea from like black veterans from like the army.
Yeah.
But I got so many comments going like, why do you call it Korean fried chicken? And I'm like, because it's Korean fried
It's
chicken.
made
The
by
batter's a
Korean
little
people.
different. The
Yeah.
double frying's a little different. I'm not saying it's invented by Korean people. I'm
Yeah.
not even Korean. So are you saying that because I'm Asian and you assume I'm taking credit?
If my co-host Ben was here, he always says Korean people, and this is from him. He's Korean, so this is me as a Chinese guy saying this. Please don't come at me. But he always says like Korean people are great at taking other people's shit and just making it better. How about you, Johnny? Like when
I
you
didn't know
have these shitty people on the internet, do you keep crying in that corner of yours?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I cry a lot.
So that's like the baseline normal for you.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Okay,
just open my door and I'm crying. I'm like, oh, nice, come in and I'll offer you a beer. Yeah. So when I first started, when I actually got my huge boom, I got so many hate DMs and comments, but it was never like, I feel like Justin's is very heavy kind of hate. Mine's kind of just, well, it's still heavy. It's racist. It was just a lot of like, F you, you eat rats.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that too.
Like
I
that
mean,
kind of stuff.
Yeah, be
Yeah.
more original, right?
Yeah,
like,
I'm just
at least
like-
come at me with like some better things.
I just roll my eyes at
Yeah.
that point. Like the funniest one was like, it wasn't on me, but it was my friend, our friend Vinny. Someone commented on the same exact restaurant, and the comment was like, "Oh, no wonder the cat population is so low in that area."
Oh wow.
It was just, it's so wrong, but that made me laugh.
I
But
mean, yeah.
I just shrugged these off.
Yeah.
I
at
get
that
it every
point.
time I do content in Chinatown or Flushing, which I do a lot of
Yeah.
content for,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm just like, okay, that's fine. If you're going to say some racist shit, just be creative about it. Like, give me your best punch, right? And like, there's been times where it was just such a lazy comment. I've just pinned it. And I just let the community like, and then they get like really, they start like saying, oh, like you pinned my comment. And then they try to like act, you know, very tough because they're e-bullies, right? And then I mean, I'm not going to go into detail, but there's been a few times where I actually just responded because I was like, I broke it down just as concisely as I could about
Yeah.
why your comment is lazy, why you're ignorant, and why people are coming at you. There was this guy, I'll give you an example. There was a guy that said something about COVID. I don't remember it that well. Like, oh, they eat bat soup, something about that. And I looked at his bio. I rarely do this, but I clicked on his page
Okay.
out of curiosity.
And it was
I-
not private.
well, he was private. They're nearly always private. But his
the bio?
bio was like living and learning. So I just like sunned the shit out of him. And I'm like, yo, your bio is living and learning. And what the fuck have you learned?
Yeah.
Because this is what you said. And I just broke it down and pinned his comment. And then he acted like, oh, he's like, yo, like, oh, you know, you pinned my comment. I achieved what I wanted to do. And then I check his bio again. He
What?
changed his bio.
Oh, did he?
Because
like,
guess what?
Stop living, stop learning.
Yeah.
I love Justin Wu.
He got shook. And I'm just like, look,
Damn.
okay, if you're going to be outrightly racist, just I respect that a little bit more if you maintain that. But the fact that you completely changed your bio after that within a minute or two
Yeah, yeah.
really shows that I do, in fact, because it's always a dick measuring contest, have a much bigger dick than you.
Dude, Justin's a savage. I didn't know that.
And he's still going through puberty.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine when he's full grown?
Yeah. The following thing too, it doesn't necessarily equate to conversion, like about how much, you know, how many opportunities you get,
Mhm.
or a lot of real life connections and networks and friendships, relationships are way more important.
Yes.
Like
yes.
at the end of the day, like I've seen people do so much with like 5,000 followers
Or 1,000 followers.
or 1,000 followers.
1,000
Exactly.
is a good number.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's amazing.
Thank
It-
you. Thank you.
It's more about legitimate community to the people that you know actually care. Like, do you actually know them, right? Like, I finally met you in person after talking to you for, you know, months at
Yeah.
the Welcome to Chinatown inaugural gala, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's a real life connection. That's why we're here talking today as friends. I think like, and you know, like ultimately, I've seen accounts with like 300,000 followers, right? And I look at their engagement and no one's commenting, like there's no shares, like then to be honest, you have not built a community, and who knows if it's even bots or not, but like that's not really useful or impactful in any way.
That's a good note. So if you guys are listening and you have 1,000 followers like me and Ben does, then don't feel that bad about yourself. On a serious note, that is true though. Some of the people that I get to talk with, some of the people that I get to meet as part of this podcast, even though our numbers aren't in the 6 digits like you guys, sorry, one of you guys. Sorry, Justin.
Thank you for
meeting people, networking. A lot of times it's who you know and it's who you can introduce somebody else to. Like, how can I help you by introducing you to someone that I know that may be of benefit to you, even though I would personally not benefit from that happening, right? Mm-hmm. One thing that I do want to touch on, I'm sure a lot of people are very interested, monetizing your content and all this work. Because clearly, based on the stuff that you two have talked about, you put a lot of time into it, you put a lot of work into it. Is it worth the amount of time you put into?
Absolutely. I think that's always been a goal of mine. I know how much work I put into this, and I've started to learn how much value, because in the past I would always make a piece of content as a videographer and it would just be free work. And so now that there's talks about monetization for the same type of work that I've been doing, it's incredible.
Does it give you more fuel to do what you do?
It does in a way, yes, because now that I have this platform, it's giving me different conversations and mindsets of like, where can we go from this as a business standpoint? Can I walk away from my career? You know, it definitely does help, and I want to keep pushing it while also having fun, creating these connections with people.
Yeah, so my whole thing started. I was purposely doing things for free because I was doing charity. I was making art for free. For me, I just, it was nice to get my art out there, but there was no expectations. And when I was making videos, it was also for free. It was just me doing it. I didn't monetize really on videos until eventually I started selling commissioned art, right? And now I do a lot of like art projects, but initially all the videos are free. And I think I started monetizing on videos like 4 or 5 months ago.
Monetizing in what sense? 'Cause I'm sure people are just curious. Like, you mean like from actual Instagram, TikTok, or from like the actual places that you go to?
So yeah, Instagram does pay out, like they do their Reels payouts on videos, but I'm talking more about like brand partnerships or also like just working with restaurants on specific like type of content, commission projects. And for me, the first time I was offered to do anything, like someone like DM'd me and was like, "Hey, what's your rate to like help us edit and film a video and help us, like
for the restaurant?"
Yeah, and obviously I do a lot of research, right? Like I make sure like the story makes sense and I have the story straight and like the food, I understand what's going on. But that was like shocking to me because I've never been approached with this question, and I've been doing everything for free. And if I take this, am I selling out? So like that was actually a huge dilemma for me because I was just confused. I was like, do I just do everything still charity, completely charitable, or do I start taking on monetized projects? The answer is yes, I've started taking monetized projects. I actually talked about it on my platform on my story today. It does feel good to get rewarded on the value that you bring. Of course. But ultimately, I think what's important is like when someone hires you, are you delivering that value,
to them, the customer?
Because I always want to make sure nothing has flopped yet, but it's like if something were to flop, it's like, okay, now I got to do this right. B, like, are you telling an accurate story? Like, are you being transparent to people? To
your followers?
Yeah, like that, you're paid on this, or like, from an ethical standpoint, right? Like that,
and legally.
Legally
too,
right? Yeah. FTC guidelines, right? So that's still important. Things like that, I think, are things I still try to abide by. And of course, just the organic stuff. Like, I still go and pay food at my street vendors, like favorite street vendors or different street vendors I want to try around the city or restaurants.
Of course.
So like, I think it's a mixture of things.
How about you, Johnny? Like when you are offered to partner up with a restaurant or a brand or something like that, does it change how you make your content?
There's some added pressure there.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a little bit of added pressure because they're trusting you to deliver, a certain piece, whatever the deliverable is. But I try to stay true to my style, which is coming into a spot, reviewing it, and showing the best. And so if it's free, if I just go into a place by myself, I choose what I want.
Yeah.
And then I try to say like what I want, what's the best. But every time I talk to a brand or a restaurant, I tell them like, hey, this is the game plan. Is there anything that you want me to highlight? Is there anything that you want to promote? And so I'll try those. And I'll say most of the time I do enjoy it. So I do push it out there the same way I would if it was just me walking into a random spot.
You have any pressure, like if you are offered a partnership, you try the thing and it's just not to your standards?
Yeah.
What do you do at that point?
That's always in the back of my head, but it hasn't happened yet.
It will.
I think it will.
I mean, statistically,
fingers crossed.
It's got to happen at some point.
Yeah. So I don't want to think about that yet because everything's been good. But yeah, I do have to get ready for that because I know it will happen eventually. But like I said before, like I try not to highlight I try not to share negative experiences. So even if there is one negative experience, there's like so much more positive stuff that I can just push out. And that's what I try to focus on. And if anything, I'll tell the brand or whoever I'm talking to like later, hey, maybe this wasn't as good. The server wasn't as good.
You'll try to actually tell them. Okay.
Yeah, just feedback, like behind the scenes, just because I don't want to promote that on my page, so.
Yeah, so what I would like to say too is I think a lot of people generally forget food is really hard, like food business, right? Like I've never I know Ben's in the food industry. I've never been in a restaurant like that, but look, we're all human. And to me, a large part of food is almost a performance art. You have a chef and his line cooks and everybody in the back of house performing a very high pressured deliverable. You're like chopping up, slicing, moving at a fast pace, working with fire, and you're firing things up and everything's about timing and you're multitasking. That's one. So many things could go wrong in the kitchen, but these guys are professionals. These women are professionals, right? It doesn't mean they're not human. That's one. So, and of course, like the front of house people or people like that are waitresses and waiters. And I'm talking about that because I think it's important to be mindful when people go to a restaurant, especially if it's your first time, like you have to give them a chance. So for example, if I am on a content gig and maybe I've tried 5 dishes and no, this hasn't happened often at all. If there's like 5 dishes and again, this is subjective. It's me, right? And maybe one dish I was like, it wasn't that it was bad. It didn't stand out to me as much. Maybe I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Again, I try to keep it positive, like Johnny said. I don't do ratings. I think it's subjective again,
Ben has always said this, like sometimes you just get a bad day. Either like the chef is like sick or he's tired, or like the ingredients aren't that good from the people there is just a bad day for everything.
Yeah, every part of the supply chain could be different. And it's important to remember that because unless you're genuinely eating at this restaurant every single day, you probably don't know. And I'd like to say that, right? Like when I say like these ribs are like fucking amazing, I had it that day and I'm just saying that. So ultimately it's about highlighting the dishes that like I like. I try to be as transparent as possible, but I would never like go out of my way to be like, yeah, this is so.
Is there a long goal for all this? Johnny briefly mentioned this. Like, is there a point where I can like turn this into my full-time gig? Can this support me and all my crying and all the tissues I have to buy? Because tissues are fucking expensive, especially those tissues with the moisture built into it. Those tissues are real
expensive.
Johnny
is open to be sponsored by Kleenex, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's like his dream sponsor.
Kleenex.
Both of you have regular jobs, right? Where you're collecting unemployment. I don't know.
What?
Unemployment. I don't know.
My full-time job is full-time in collecting unemployment checks.
Some people have that. I'm not judging. We're all in different situations.
Again, it's subjective, right?
Subjective is the word today.
Any long-term goals, Johnny?
Yes, I don't think I mentioned, but I'm a full-time flight attendant.
God bless your soul.
Oh
my God.
It's crazy out there. But I do love it because of how flexible I am. Not physically, but with the job. Yeah. So on Monday, I had a 3-day trip. I was gone for 3 days. Prior to that, I hadn't worked for 3 weeks.
Is that by choice or just you didn't have...
Definitely by choice.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Because I've been so lucky to have restaurant collabs, brand partnerships within that time frame.
Oh, that also took up your time. That was also making you money. So you didn't feel the need to be grinding at your regular job.
Exactly. So it exceeded my income from my full-time job.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. In those 3 weeks, I was like, this is crazy. And the fact that I can move my schedule around with this full-time job is so just out of this world.
Johnny's rich, guys.
I'm not rich.
We're not in my house right now. We're in Johnny's house.
I own Flushing.
He sent the offer to me this morning. I accepted because it was way overvalued.
I was like, I'll throw in some Kleenex.
He actually bought out Worst Asian Pod.
He acquired Ben's stake.
He was like, here, I'll take my 112,000 followers and acquire.
We'll do like a sub branch of you guys. How about you, Justin? In terms of turning this into a full-time thing?
I truthfully don't know yet, but all I know is that I have other goals and plans with like this, and obviously part of that's just growing my platform. Maybe even hiring a team because transparently I could use some help. But also I want to like do more in-person stuff, and I want to get back to creating more art because I just haven't had the bandwidth to create as much art as I'd like to. I do have some upcoming collaborations with legitimate food brands, as in like, sorry, not food brands. I would better say like food vendors, which I'm really excited for. So yeah, like in person, as in like event hosting, I think it'd be really cool to accessibility is a huge thing.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is like, look, I love food. I love learning about food, but I'm not an expert. I did not go to culinary school. Everything I've learned is from media, from reading and media, and they've welcomed me into the kitchens. They've showed me how they've made certain things, or it's highly interesting to me.
The BTS stuff is sometimes more interesting than the actual dishes.
Sure, because we all go to restaurants and see the final dish, and it's beautiful. The presentation's perfect, and we smell the senses, but like, what about the amalgamation of flavors? What about when somebody, example, like baking, like what if someone makes a cookie and like, how do all those flavors come together? And suddenly you bring in people and you talk about it. You know, like I'm talking about events like that, like being inclusive. And I'm not just talking about content creators. Like obviously you guys are invited, right? But can we invite followers? Like can people that genuinely love this type of content experience that in real life? And I don't know what that's going to look like yet. That's just an example. And I never really thought about it. Like I've done in-person events, but they've been all art events, like the one Johnny went to. I've never really thought about doing it from like an event hosting platform. Mm-hmm. I do have a lot of friends in food that like have supported me since day one, and I make content just like as a friend too. And like there are ways I think that we can kind of like help uplift the community.
Yeah, exactly.
While also just like meeting people, because I just like socializing, so I love meeting people, and I think that would just be a great way. And yeah, it's not been structured yet, but it's something I'm looking into.
One serious question to kind of like, I guess semi-serious question for like those prospective content creators, influencers, yada yada, that are like listening to this and like that think that they can do it. Real talk. Don't just give them, just do what makes your heart happy or chase your dream. What would you tell someone that wants to do it?
Live, laugh, love. TJ Maxx. So,
oh, by the way, I think I have something in the dining room that says that.
No way.
Yes.
I'm going to leave. No, you don't. There's no way. So, I was talking to someone about this the other day. If you want to start something in the creative space, I feel like this would go with any industry. The first answer I gave was to stay disciplined and to have a clear goal of what you want to do, whatever that time frame is. So for me, before I started, I studied the best, Justin.
Worst Asian Pod.
Yes. I'm like, these guys are killing it. What do I do? And then I gave myself X amount of months to go as hard as I can. And I put out this game plan. I'm going to go to like 5 spots in one day. That's 5 videos at least, or maybe 10 videos if I repurpose the video with different audio. So have a game plan, stay disciplined, really stick to it. Mm. Number 2 was be open to network. Networking
you got to network. That's the most important thing I've learned through all this.
Yeah, community over competition.
Yeah, and that's what I learned through with Justin. Like, you really have to have each other's back, especially with this industry. Like, him and I, we help each other shoot all the time. You know, I give him ideas, he gives me ideas, and then he's been a huge help. He's one of those guys that really helped me from the beginning, because I mean, I jumped into this with videography experience, but I didn't know the market. I didn't know anything about
Justin,
food.
he's the reason why you're here today.
Really? Yeah, he really is.
I didn't want you here.
Yeah, I wanted to go to the best Asian one. But now we're here.
So he told me it'd be sick to do a podcast, and I was like, yo, well, let me ask. And that's the thing, right? It's funny, full cycle. We started talking about like followers in the beginning. Like for me, it's just like I knew Johnny was gonna get here pretty fast. So like it's no surprise to me.
I didn't believe it.
And it just, for me, like it doesn't even bother me. Really. And for me, it's like all it's done is like, oh yeah, sure, I obviously want to get to 6 figures. That'd be great. It'd be quite an achievement. Yeah. But for me, it's like I'm really blessed to be like sitting right under 80. Like the fact that 80,000 people care is just kind of like, yo, why do you care about me? You know?
Even if like a fraction of them actually do care.
Yes.
That's a lot of fucking people.
That's insane.
Yeah. And also, like, if a small fraction just go to this restaurant, that actually helps them, right?
Mm-hmm. Huge help.
Yeah.
Before we get to the ranting and raving part, do you guys have anything that you want to plug that's coming up?
Yeah. So I'm super excited because I mentioned, I'm trying to do more art stuff. Mm-hmm. In December, with the holidays, 2 really great small businesses, Best Damn Cookies.
Best Damn Cookies. Okay.
They make incredible cookies, right?
That's the name.
Yeah, it's the opposite of Worst Asian Pod because they're actually best at what they do.
Wait. Technically, I'm slightly offended because when people come into this podcast, they have low expectations. That's the whole fucking shtick, okay? When you name something the worst of anything, like if I am the worst eating New York, I am the worst hungry artist, then people are like, This is better
Yo,
than what
new
I
content
thought.
series, Worst Eats of New York.
Hey,
Yeah.
thanks for that, man. We're probably going to get to 500K for that.
I'll take 10%
The
off
gum
of
on
that.
the street, Worst Eats of New York.
I'll take 10% off of that.
I'm just joking though. Obviously, I love Worst Asian Podcast, which
What were
is
you
why
saying?
I'm here. But no, they're very obviously they're saying because they make cookies of premium ingredients,
Mhm.
right? So and they've been friends for a long time. So them and Allie's Banana Bread. She's also great. Allie's awesome.
Sweet. And you, John, you said you have the YouTube thing coming up. Is the first video releasing soon, or are you going to start producing for it soon?
Yes. First production, first episode will be filmed and shot tomorrow. And it's going to be what I initially did first with Instagram, like the Chinese spots, like the top 3 Chinese spots that really blew up my channel or my page and people really enjoyed. But like I said earlier, long form.
Right.
I'm going to go deep dive. I'm going to interview people, why they like it, why they're spending 30 minutes in line in 20-degree weather for this pork over rice. So I want to go into that deep story, but that's really it. Johnny Eats NYC. It's going to be, that's my YouTube name. That's also my Instagram name. But other than that, just keep grinding, just keep working.
I'd like to plug someone else. So like Vinny, who was here earlier, but then dipped before the actual
Yes.
recording.
Forgot his
I
jacket.
didn't mention this, but we are live in Studio 1, aka my living room. I have the pleasure of having both these two guys here, but they also brought their friend Vinny along. How much shit do you want to talk about, Vinny? How much time do we have?
We can spend a lot of time with Phoebe,
Yeah.
man. I'm mostly good, but go ahead.
I just want to shout him out because he's like so helpful. He is, first off, he doesn't talk about it, but he's a very talented photographer. That's one.
What's his handle?
At NYC Food Games.
Okay.
And he does a lot of the filming for us. And like we said, it takes a community. Like we need help, right? And he comes and obviously enjoys the food. He loves just filming, but without him, like it would have to be someone else. But he's so always down to like travel, right?
Yeah.
And we collaborate with him a lot. So I just want to make sure that he's getting the credit that he deserves because he does a lot for us.
On to my favorite segment of the whole podcast, ranting and raving. This is where me and normally Ben, and today with Johnny and Justin, we're going to be bitching about something shitty in our lives. Pools. I have a pool in my backyard. It's an above ground pool, so it's not that fancy. But my rant is this. Every time I cover up my pool with this giant tarp, no matter what I fucking do, if it rains heavily, water starts pooling up. And every time it rains, I know I have to go outside to my backyard. I have to siphon off the water from the pool cover and everything. Yo, you people that own pools, someone solve this problem for me because I've been told that I need to put a giant balloon underneath the middle of the pool so that the tarp is elevated so the water can trickle off to the sides. I tried it. Didn't work. I put 10 balloons underneath. My pool tarp looks like a teenager that's going through puberty with acne all over his face. It's so bumpy right now. And instead of one large puddle, I have like a bunch of small puddles on my tarp now.
It's a serious question. Important question. Are we invited to the pool party in the summer?
Oh, yes, dude.
I want to come to this barbecue. Can I come?
If Justin invites you to it.
Yo, it's
That's
actually
why I'm here.
It's actually like 100,000 followers and under.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
So I got to make sure I don't like grow too fast. Just trickle.
Can I force unfollow people? Because I really want to go to this barbecue.
I think
mean,
you
you have
could.
to do it 12,000 times. That sounds like a pain. Sucks to be
12,000
you.
How about you guys? You guys have anything you want to vent about? Completely unrelated?
I want to do both, actually.
Okay.
Can I bitch and rave?
Go for it.
Okay, guys. When you go to a restaurant and you want to eat,
Yes, that's what you do at a restaurant.
right? You go to eat to a restaurant, right? And you're curious what's being offered. What do? What's the first thing you do?
Ask for the specials or
Yeah,
ask for the
you
menu?
ask for recommendations, right?
Right. And then maybe look at the menu, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Sure.
There's
Yes.
a menu there, right?
Yes.
Any restaurant, there's a fucking menu, right? Why the hell people come in the plane every time? This is just no fair.
Oh, this
man.
is a flight attendant.
Yep.
friend.
Plot
Oh,
twist.
Oh,
Plot
I
twist.
thought it,
It's a
at
plot
first
twist,
I was
guys.
like, wait, are you coming at the restaurant?
Me too.
Because I don't want to be
No,
associated
no,
with that.
I'm just connecting it because it'll make sense, okay?
You drop a bombshell.
No. It'll make sense. When you go on a flight, there's obviously service. You get drinks, there's food sometimes, there's snacks.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a menu. I don't know if a lot of people don't know this.
It's common knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. Please, thank you. There's a whole ass menu in the plane, whether it's physical or digital. We're moving towards digital, but there's a fucking menu. Every time, bro, there's just no fail. We go in the cart and I get asked, "What do you have?" 500 times a day. I'm just like, man, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? And then they're just like, I just want water. After you name everything on the list, I'll take a water.
Oh yeah.
The real question is, Justin, have you been that person to ask what do you have?
I was gonna interject and be like, I have definitely asked that, but I do.
Me too.
I do
To you
look at
guys.
the menu.
Oh,
But I think what happens is like I end up not realizing the cart's coming down. I'm just like focused on my movie or whatever or music, and then they go like, "Oh, can we get you a beverage or snack?" And I'm like, "Sure. What do you have?"
that's exactly what I'm talking
You know
about.
what this sounds like? This sounds like a Seinfeld episode. I could see that being like a Larry David thing.
Jerry, I was on the train. I was on the plane. And this guy kept on asking, what do you have?
That's exactly it.
Oh man.
What's your go-to response, though? You literally just named the whole menu?
Well, I have to.
Oh,
I have to. It's part of the job, you know. I mean, like the worst part is I'm glad to tell you, but then they're just so shook and don't know what's going on. Panic mode. I'll have a water. I'm like, I just took
Panic mode.
and I have to do it again for the guy in front of you because his headphones are on and he's not lining.
That's Justin right there with his
We
headphones
should
on.
When there's service, when you see that cart coming through the way,
Yeah.
that means there's something happening. maybe, like you said, take your headphones out. Especially if we're trying to talk to you. The amount of times I've had staring contests with people because they can't hear me. And they're just like this. They're looking up. And then they finally take it off and they're like, what? I'm just like, I do a lot of staring contests.
So now we know Johnny's responsible for like those like low reviews. Like, yo, I had the worst service
Worst
ever at
experience.
this airline. It's Johnny.
It was actually me.
Yeah.
Johnny works for Spirit Airlines. The worst airline.
Spirit.
Very grateful for Spirit, but it's
Shout out to Spirit if we ever want to get sponsored by Spirit.
Oh
We
yeah,
will-
I'm still down. I'm still down for.
wait, worst podcast, worst airline.
Oh,
kinda works.
Oh, that kind of works. I mean, fuck. I'll take free flights.
Yeah.
Tell me you would not take a free flight if it's bad service.
No, I would. I mean,
You would still take it if it's bad
Spirit's
service.
like, I'd be like, yo, Spirit's pretty dope, right? Like, we got,
Yo, we got a seat. And the plane took off.
and
it
we
landed.
only arrived 5 hours late.
But we
That's
were like
it.
sort of in the right city. We were in the
Yeah.
adjacent city. It's
We
all
were
good.
so
Yeah.
close.
I was supposed to be in the West Coast. They brought me to the Midwest, but it's still on the West side, right?
It's
so
more
in the
west than
middle.
where I was. How about you, Justin? You
That's
got
so
any bitch
funny.
or vent about?
yeah, I just thought about it. I guess like I'm turning 30 next month.
Oh, fuck, you're so young.
Yeah, I guess so. But like I've just noticed, like you notice aging, right? And then I like notice it, and I'm just, I used to be able to, I guess with the food stuff. Like,
I'm mad skeptical of your rant because you're talking to someone that's older than you and probably has a worse back. But please go.
well,
Please
I'm just saying, like with food, I used to be able to crush everything and just eat everything without
Okay.
any repercussions. And now,
I see.
That's that Asian gene in yours.
and now it's like organically, everyone gets more lactose intolerant as they get older. Scientifically proven.
Is it? Okay.
Really?
Yeah, because we're the
Oh.
only species that drinks and consumes a different species milk. No one, like goats have goat milk, cows have cow milk, but
Huh.
we have cow milk.
I thought he meant Asians. I don't know why.
Oh no,
I just
sorry.
immediately feel like
I meant as a species,
the
as a
hell?
human race.
I'm like,
No, I meant
Jesus.
as a human race.
If you're Italian, this doesn't happen to you. I'm
Please
sorry.
skip. Yeah, just Asian milk.
Great to know. That's hungry New York scientist right here.
Again,
Please.
if I'm wrong and there's science to back that I'm wrong, let me know. But that's what I've heard scientifically, that we're the only species. So like, and obviously, yes, Asian diet, we don't have it, but
Yeah.
I was able to crush, like, I love cheese and I love dairy and I crush all types of it. But now, like, I actually have to manage it.
Do you have to take those pills for people that are lactose
Oh,
intolerant?
Lactate.
So my wife is lactose intolerant. She takes Lactaid,
Oh wow.
but I don't. But I'm just saying, like, this shit sucks now because I'm just like, damn, like I am getting older because I can't do what I once did, and I understand everybody goes through this, but it's
Yeah.
frustrating for me.
It's gonna suck because I'm sure you're gonna be introduced or given like a lot of dairy content to consume.
Sure.
you should reach out to Lactate soon then.
Yeah.
No, so one thing I do want to do
Is
Lactaid.
Lactate the milk or is that the pill that you
The
take?
pill.
That's the
It's
pill.
both
They
actually.
do both. They do both. They do Lactaid.
It's the same company?
Yeah. They do a
smart.
lot.
Smart.
Bro, I'm so cynical. It's like a company introducing a problem and then introducing a solution to the problem.
Yeah.
Somehow they like made us worse and they're like, here guys, just take this pill.
Take this.
Well, the milk they provide is dairy free.
Lactose free. Yeah.
Yeah, lactose free. Sorry, lactose free.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I guess that's not like super aggressive rant, but it kind of sucks. And I guess like just about raving, I just think life's been pretty sweet. Overall.
You don't have to rave. I always just bitch.
No, I just think life is pretty awesome. I mean, for me, like I think things have been going well. I
Yeah.
mean, I got married in June. Like it's going well so far. And
My condolences.
Yeah.
I'm married, by the way.
Dang,
I can say
Whoa.
this.
Yeah.
My condolences.
Yeah, but like it's
My
been
wife
going
hates
well.
it when I say that, by the way. She's like, I'm gonna fucking slap you if you
Oh,
say that one more
that's
time. Stop saying that to everyone.
Oh man, no,
That's
it's funny.
good.
It's funny, and I feel like life's going pretty swell overall. Like family's healthy, friends are healthy and happy, and
Too
the food
damn
stuff's going well.
optimistic. So optimistic.
Also, I can be optimistic, guys. It's just That whole what do you have and staring contest thing really gets me.
Okay, guys, we are at the outro right now. We do this at the end of every outro. We like to highlight a small AAPI business. So if you're a small AAPI human being with a small AAPI business, reach out to me and Ben on Instagram, free of charge, no compensation, yada, yada. Not Panda Express, not anything large like that. But if you have a small business, reach out to me. We'll gladly give you a shout out on the podcast, help amplify your platform, maybe get you one more purchase, get you one more click on your webpage. Whatever we can do, small little bit, okay? I want to give a shout out to Phoebe over at Jiffy Boba. That's jiffyboba.com. 26 years old. That's technically a Gen Zer, right?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's a little
Millennial.
She's in the gray area.
She's in the gray area.
Yeah,
Okay.
limbo.
Yeah.
Doing great things with her life. It is actually a boba where it contains a lot of collagen. Do you guys know what collagen does?
It's good for skincare.
That's all I got. My girlfriend uses that stuff, but
Collagen is good for skin. That's it.
is it joints too?
You're thinking of glucosamine.
What?
So basically, if you guys have bad skin or you want to get some better skin and you want to get caffeinated at the same time on
Ooh.
boba, please check them out. That's jiffyboba.com. They send these kits over to your place.
That sounds great. I love boba.
Yeah, I want better skin and run fast.
Caffeine will make you run fast.
Yeah.
And the collagen will make you look good when you're running really fast.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. I gotta go there.
So check them out, jiffyboba.com. You can also find them on social media, same exact thing, Jiffy Boba, okay? Next, I want to give a shout out to charcuterie boards. Now, you guys are in food. You know what a charcuterie board is,
Love
obviously.
cheese and cured meats. Yes.
Can you
Yes.
guess what a charcuterie board is for?
It has booze.
Alcohol.
A bark, like a dog.
Oh, it's for dogs. Oh,
Dang.
charcuterie. I heard.
I heard bar.
So
That
if,
makes
if
sense.
you're a pet owner, if you're a dog owner, it's charcuterie board. That's BARKUTERIE boards.com. And that is created by Amanda. They have things like fish, shrimp, bison, tuna, duck. Some of the stuff looks like I could probably eat it.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I like bison.
That sounds good. I want the shrimp. You can take the bison.
I'll tell you. Yeah, bison's a gamey meat. Delicious though.
From the sound of it, you guys are going to leave none for the actual dog.
No, well,
So please get yourself 2 charcuterie boards, one for the actual pet owners and one for the dog itself. Okay, so check them out. That's charcuterieboard.com. They're also on social medias at the exact same thing. And tell Amanda that we sent you over there. There is no promo code. Just tell her we sent you over there. I want to thank Johnny and Justin for invading my home today.
very nice home to invade. I would love to do it again when you're not home. Oh, crap.
You guys had a good time?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
amazing
yeah.
time.
It
This
was
is
great.
overdue. Yeah, thank you for having us. This was a blast.
And your first podcast, right?
First podcast
Fair enough.
Ooh.
and the best podcast.
And the best. See, it's not as
This is-
bad as people think it is. It's all like a ploy.
You got me. My first, the best, worst pod. But
You're stuttering. It's
I
not
enjoyed it.
genuine. It's fake.
I enjoyed it very much.
I enjoyed it. This
I
was
enjoyed
nice.
it.
I will be back.
Scroll up again. I will come back. Good times.
Where can the internet find you guys?
I am
We
primarily
go with
on
the most followers first. So Johnny,
Justin. Are we talking about TikTok?
you have more TikTok followers than he does.
I only have like 100.
You do?
Yeah, he's like 30,000.
Well, he just started. It might go off, and it might think same thing might
no,
happen. Who knows?
it's small.
It's
Over
small.
there.
We'll see.
It's before
We'll have a
puberty.
follow-up episode.
It's before puberty.
It's before puberty and it's cold outside. It's half small.
Yeah.
And you just came out of the pool.
It came out. Yeah, dude. That's how small I am.
Yes.
Handle is Johnny Eats NYC all throughout the board. Again, YouTube is coming soon. Very excited for that. Long form content, more storytelling, and highlighting the best of any restaurants that I come with. So
Nice. And you, Justin?
Yeah, Justin, nice to meet everybody again. And it's at Hungry Artist NY on Instagram and TikTok. I also run a website named hungryartistny.com that's devoted to the art that I make and merchandise. And yeah, just, highlighting different small businesses, local businesses, and just food in general, specifically mostly in New York City. Appreciate everybody's support.
I will have links to every single thing that I talked about today downstairs, down in the box below. Not in my basement. Please don't go to my basement to look for these links, okay? That would be very odd. But down in the box below, guys. Stay tuned. You can stay up to date with what Ben and I do on a regular basis by visiting www.worstasianpod.com. I have links to all the links to everything else. I have links to all the links to everything else. We've been talking for way too fucking long today. You can also give us more than 1,000 followers by following us on social media at Worst Asian Pod. Are both of you following?
Yeah.
Are you
Yes,
sure?
I think
I'm
so.
gonna check right now.
Wait,
I know I follow. I
I'm
can't
sure
speak for
did.
Johnny.
I'm just
Did I?
Mr. 112,000.
Okay.
Now I'm getting nervous.
He's-
I'm gonna
He
end
said,
up.
"I think so." That was a very confident.
Johnny's
to me.
looking on his phone right now.
I'm gonna end up in the basement. Hold on. Wait.
I gotta see.
Words.
this. I gotta.
he's like-
Yo, come on. Following.
Oh, he's following.
That's on my burner account.
I don't know.
I'm
He's
kidding.
getting-
No.
On behalf of Johnny, Justin, and myself, we'll catch you guys next week.
Later, guys.
Peace.